everyone, welcome to this week's coffee break. This week we have the pleasure of talking with a lot of athletics folks, so really excited to have them join us today. Just to let you know, we do have a couple of different options. So if you're having issues with your audio or anything like that, then it's best to use your computer audio. And you can definitely type in questions into the Q&A box at the bottom if you have any questions for our athletic guests. Otherwise, this session is being recorded and will be added to our website. So if you have any questions, let me know. My name is Rachel. I'm the Director of Alumni Relations, and I do everything alumni engagement. So all of the alumni events and things like that. And I partner with a lot of our campus, athletics departments, academic schools, things like that to support our alums, do events for our alums, and kind of keep us all connected in this community. So I'm going to kick it off to Scott and let him introduce himself, and then we'll kind of go in order.
Thanks, Rachel. I'm Scott Stark. I've been at Lindenwood since the fall of 2013. I moved to Missouri, to Lindenwood, to take a graduate assistant position with the men's lacrosse program. And I spent 7 seasons with the men's lacrosse program as a lacrosse coach. And then within the past year, I've moved into athletic administration, with the hopes of kind of working with Rachel and kind of helping develop our alumni relations and all of our external relations as well.
Good morning. My name is Jed Stewart. I'm the head football coach here at Lindenwood. Been here starting my 4th football season. So moved here from South Dakota, so prior to that, coached several different spots, but just have found a great home here at Lindenwood on this beautiful campus with we're just commenting on the weather compared to where I used to live. And so we were talking a little bit about that. So thank you for everybody joining. And again, Rachel, for putting this on this, and just happy to be joining you this morning.
Good morning. I'm Kyle Gerdeman. I'm the head men's basketball coach. Actually just finished year 1 on July 10. So seemed like it took a long time, but looking at the calendar the last few weeks, realized that we just finally wrapped up the first year. So we were excited about getting started and excited about what we were able to do in the first year. Had spent the previous 7 years at Central Michigan University in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, but have some ties to the area. I grew up out in Wright City, Missouri, so pretty familiar with St. Charles, St. Louis, the area, and excited to be back and building our program. Thanks for having me.
Good morning. I'm Katy Falco. I'm the head women's basketball coach here. I am starting my 3rd season, similar to Jed. I moved here from South Dakota. I spent 10 years as an assistant coach at South Dakota State and almost 4 years previously at Montana State. So I'm really excited to be joining you this morning, and I've absolutely loved my experience from a personal and a professional level here at Lindenwood.
Thank you. We're excited to have you all. I have a couple of questions, but really just wanted to get a feel for what is athletics doing during this time? I know that it's a very odd time, something that we haven't really been used to in the past. So how are maybe your teams coming together, your coaches coming together to kind of make sure that this experience is still good for all of our athletes and kind of working together? So we'll just kind of go in the same order. So Scott, I don't know if you've been working with any partners on campus and just kind of how we're managing this time.
Well, Rachel, obviously, COVID has kind of taken us a little bit off track as far as kind of how we were, moving into the next year with all of our external relationships and our partners. But I will say that this transition's been great to kind of watch our coaches and how they've continued to stay connected with their student athletes as well as their prospective student athletes. So it's been kind of really rewarding to see coaches take that relationship from being in person on campus to being a little bit more distance, but through a virtual platform. And it's just been really rewarding as a former coach to be able to kind of watch coaches take that passion of still interacting with their students. And it just proves the fact that, being in college athletics, it has a lot more to do with than just being on the court or on the field. It has a lot to do with the relationships that you build. So, obviously from an external standpoint and with our relationships, just trying to continue to keep everybody updated on how the fall is going to be looking and how this next calendar year is going to look. But, really just kind of making sure that our team in general, from athletic administration to coaches, just continue to stay positive and continue to move forward. So, when we do get back on campus, that it doesn't really seem like we skipped a whole lot. Thank you.
Yeah, it's definitely been something I've never, none of us have ever had to endure something like this. In coaching, there's always the unexpected. I think that's what, you're always having to make adjustments. You're always having to, the unexpected happens with injuries and things like that, but and you kind of prepare yourself for that. With this is something that is so radically different. And, I think it was weird for us. We were fortunate to at least get finish our season and have a complete season. So kind of heartbreaking, just what Coach Falco and Coach Gerdeman had to go through and not having their kids be able to finish completely. I mean, that's also hard. And now we're kind of on the cusp of possibly facing that in the fall as people are still working out. And so that creates a lot of uncertainty. So I think it's really put us as coaches to, number one, a challenge that we have to be very composed. We have to be very, there's nothing that you can plan out. Everything we've done, we just decided as a staff is we're going to plan things basically after every 2 weeks and then kind of hit the reset button because things change so much with this, with the laws and the rules and things like that. And then you have to look at how a university's handling something. And then you have to look at how an athletic department's handling something. So you have to constantly be kind of preparing as if, okay, this is where we're at. How are we going to handle this? And know that it probably is going to change in 2 weeks, one way or the other. It's just kind of how this whole thing's gone. So it's really caused us to, so we've kind of taken the approach now that, we've been able to have some of our local kids through social distancing. Great job by Kristen Trotter running our, as that training head athletic trainer, setting guidelines, and our strength coaches, J.C. Hall and Reese and and Jen that are working to help any student athlete that can be here. So we're following social distancing and seeing what that looks like from a training standpoint. And then August 3rd, we'll sit down as a staff and say, okay, put all the cards on the table. Let's plan out what fall camp would look like after we see kind of where because things change every day.
Yeah, I agree with a lot that Jed had to say there, because I think the changes have been the hardest part to kind of come around from, whether it's what you're doing with your team, what you're doing. For basketball, there was a lot of summer recruiting that would take place during this time. So obviously seeing those changes and how you recruit. But I think more than anything, I looked at one thing we talked about with our staff was an ability, maybe we were, for a lack of a better term, forced into more and better communication with our players during this time. Because they, normally they wouldn't be, with us on campus for the summer, until later in the summer around this time possibly. But I think the thing that it may have done for us all, in probably a positive way, was, with our program, we've just had a lot more conversation. These right here, these Zoom meetings, I wasn't doing them before this started. I don't know if anybody else was, but, I think there would have always been your typical one-on-one communication that you have with your players. And obviously you see your local guys bounce around the gym a little bit in the summertime. But I think just the ability to get everybody together as a group, and maybe have some more focused conversations, instead of just, hey, what's going on? How's everybody doing? We've tried to do some things where we've had some guest speakers. I've seen other athletic programs on campus doing the same thing. And whether that's talking about, sports specific, whether that's talking about what's going on in society, I think it's helped us probably grow. And I hope at the end it's helped us, become more cohesive as a group and kind of build some camaraderie, so to speak, between our team. So, at the end, I hope there's a positive there that we found on communication and growing together, and just talking more than maybe you would have in the past as a group.
I would agree with both Jed and Kyle. There's a lot of communication. We stress that a lot in our program anyhow, but due to COVID, it is something that we're trying to be creative in what we do. And so we have a lot of individual conversations with our players as well. And then we also have team Zoom meetings, and we've had a guest speaker as well, and just try to get creative in what we do. And the fun part is that our players really enjoy it. They miss each other. It's a really difficult time for us as coaches, us as administrators, but for the student athletes, when they're used to be given direction, and this is what it's going to look like, and this is when you're going to come back, and this is what you can expect. We as coaches, that's what we do. We try to provide some structure, some feedback, some anticipation, especially for those new players coming to Lindenwood for the first time. What is it going to look like? This is, what we're going to do as a team, and when a lot of it is unknown and a lot of it is from a distance, that makes it difficult, creates some stress, creates some worry of what is it going to mean for me? What does it look like for our team? How do we get to know each other? And so it's been a lot of fun. As Kyle said, our team is typically in the summer. They're not around here anyway. So they're some taking summer classes, some doing internships. And so we've had some of our players' internships canceled, some upperclassmen, some to-be seniors, and they've just handled it so maturely. And so I give them credit because it is a unique time, but what we're doing as a group is just trying to support each other, trying to really stay connected, grow that relationship off the court. And that takes effort from the coaches, effort from the players in our program. Because then when we do get back together, the relationship side will be built and you get to know each other. And as Kyle said, it's created more of that communication, which is really good. And our players love it, and times where they've got jobs and they've got everything else. It's nice to be able to have a common focus when it comes to athletics and your sports teams. And I know they're really excited to get back and get going.
So all of you mentioned the relationship side of things, which I think is great, and kind of more communication, more relationships being built. I think that this could be an interesting time as well, because if for some reason fall sports don't look the same or spring sports don't look the same, even though physically distancing will be happening on campus, I've also encouraged people, maybe this is the time that athletes can finally have a little bit more freedom to get involved with a student organization or attend that campus event that they might not have otherwise. So I think it does kind of open the door for potentially some more opportunities for them to get involved outside of athletics. I know that they're so ingrained with their team and everything like that, but getting them out, kind of meeting other folks and letting other students meet the athletics team so that they can come support their games and things like that when it does come back, I think it could just kind of be a good opportunity all the way around. So I want to maybe bounce it back to Scott and just kind of start this question of how can alums get involved kind of in a normal year and potentially get involved this year, whether it's, are you having games? Can they visit? What does that look like? Or are there certain events that you have done with alums that you know of that are happening with alums, and how they can get involved with those?
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. As I kind of said, I moved into this role about a year ago, and the whole reason for this role kind of being formed is to make sure that we're staying connected with our alumni as well as our external community. And so over the course of the past year, we've really kind of tried to build up a little bit of a foundation of reconnecting with some of our Hall of Famers and kind of restructuring our Hall of Fame and allowing our Hall of Famers, our former inductees, to be a part of that process, because we certainly want to be more connected in that area. And then the other avenue is that we're trying to kind of work with our sport coaches on trying to get more interactive opportunities with their alumni, whether it be post-game, pre-game type of events, or just trying to do some more events throughout the course of the year that are allowing alumni to come back. I think it's definitely a focus of our administration, especially of mine, and is working with you, Rachel. Obviously, that's something that we would like to do more often, is trying to bring events back that cater to our alumni, as well as kind of help our coaches connect with their alumni, because sport coaches are extremely busy, and that is a whole nother avenue that our coaches have to make sure that we focus on, is staying connected with alumni. But obviously, when you get into season, you get pretty focused on, continuing your recruiting efforts, as well as making sure that your team is where they need to be. And so that was kind of a big focus of your and I's conversations, is kind of how we wanted to approach this next year, is make sure that we're focusing on our alumni groups and helping our coaches put some of that together. So that is certainly still the direction, until we kind of really know what this fall will look like. That will be kind of tabled as far as what events we currently are going to be focused on. But as far as being interactive, we're always looking for opportunities. And I think we would love to hear from alumni as much as possible, to kind of saying, hey, we would like to do these type of events. One big issue that we've definitely found is that there's a lot packed into the fall. We try to do events around homecoming, and then you have your Hall of Fame induction, and then you have some alumni and family weekends. So there's just a lot packed into a short period of time. And so I think what we're trying to look at is how do we spread that out over the calendar year, so we don't have 3 or 4 events right in a row that are asking the alumni to come back. We would like to kind of spread that out. So there's definitely a focus of saying, hey, I was on campus this fall, I'd love to come back this spring. So just trying to find those events, but we'd love to hear from any alumni, and just try to figure out ways that you would love to still be involved. But certainly the big focus is when we are back playing, and we definitely have kids back on campus and our events are fan friendly. We definitely want to try to do more events around those sporting events to make sure that we get those alumni to come back. And it's certainly a focus of yours and I's, but definitely our coaches would benefit from our help of trying to reach out and kind of organize those events for them. So.
I'm muted. There we go. I'll just kind of say, I always think it's fun. We have open practices, and I always enjoy when we have alumni and boosters and donors that pop out to practice and kind of just to see what's going on. And so I always encourage, our kids love to see, they love to see people pop in at practice, or that they take an interest in them and things like that. I think, and so we always want to encourage that. I've been able to meet so many of our football alumni, and some alumni that just didn't play athletics, that are in the community, but love Lindenwood. I love to hear the stories of what used to be over there and who built the stadium, and they had a hand in when they were working the work and learn program. Lynn, I've heard so much about that, so it's fun to hear those things. And then you have the reality. The reality is there's going to be a lot of challenges financially to Lindenwood, and schools and higher education across the country. And I think this isn't one of those things. I think sometimes alumni, because I get my school that I graduated in, I get my annual letter and encouraging me to donate. And sometimes we can take the attitude of like, well, I gave them all my money when I was getting my education, but so I'm not going to send a donation or anything. And so it's not necessarily even that. Sometimes I think like Scott would just love to have, and we would just love to have too, is the help in maybe getting us even connected into people that you might know, or employers that I think people are always looking for ways to help athletic programs and universities. And it's funny, when they get to know your program, they tend to want to, any of our programs, they tend to want to help more. So please, I always want to make sure when I talk to that if you come out to our practices or are on our campus, don't be afraid. Nobody's going to come up and try to hit you up for anything. I think, we want to build relationships and partner with, because we understand that. I think, especially as coaches, we get that sometimes, people get constantly hit up. So So don't be afraid of that. Let's help. But there are going to be some challenges. Lindenwood and all of our athletic budgets are going to be affected by these things. Just to be team players, we got to help the school and things like that. But and we got to work harder as coaches to raise some of the shortfalls and stuff. So we would love your help and suggestions, and just even relationships that you might have with other people that are always looking to help. So it might not even be from you. So I always like to make sure people feel comfortable with that.
Yeah, I think, Scott, you and Jed made a good point. We just want to build a relationship with as many of our alumni that we can. And I think that we would just like to start with your email address from the men's basketball standpoint. We just want to be able to stay in touch with people. We had a nice alumni game last October, and we had a great turnout. And I think, Jed, you kind of hit on this. When I meet people, they're proud of Lindenwood. The strange thing this spring, this summer, my son plays a ton of youth baseball and basketball, and I've probably ran into 8 to 10 former basketball players whose kids are playing, one sport or the other, and have been able to have some conversations there of guys that, I hadn't met, hadn't known. And it doesn't surprise me. I mean, I understand the enrollment that we've had here for a long time, and obviously in the area, but the thing that stands out is like I said, they're proud that they were at Lindenwood. They had great experiences. They like talking about how the campus has changed over the years and maybe what they had versus what we had now. But everybody has been that I've come across has been more than willing to want to communicate, to want to stay in touch. And I think for us, and I think everybody would agree, is just how do we continue to just grow those relationships, and again, Jed, I think you made a great point. It's not just necessarily about, how much money can you give us? Because there's a lot of different avenues that we can go. Do you have somebody else you can introduce us to? Could you come and speak to our team? There's ways to help in so many other ways besides, financial contributions that are great. But I think, again, the relationship that we can build with a lot of people is what's going to take us further down the road. And I think it's been interesting to kind of see that firsthand this summer, meeting some guys and just kind of running into some former players by chance. And again, their appreciation for the university. So, I think the gathering of the information, building a database, whatever you want to call it, is the biggest thing that we can start with, and really just getting everybody as much information about all of our programs as we can is great.
I'm in a similar situation, that being newer to Lindenwood, trying to get in touch with alumni and recognizing who those women are is the first step, and it's a really important piece. And we've worked hard at that as a program, and we're really excited to see kind of this growth and the steps we're able to make in the coming seasons. And so similar to Kyle, just getting names, getting contact information would be critical. One thing that we're doing with our women's program too is trying to update alumni through newsletters. And so just an access to email. Again, we're not asking for anything. We're just trying to provide information about who we are as a team. What are some good things we're doing on and off the court? And again, back to that relationship, back to that personal piece, and instead of us just being a Lindenwood women's basketball program, who are the individual ladies that make up that team? What are they about? What are the coaches about? Getting that personal connection, I think that's really important. We've had some alumni that have come back for games, and they've brought their children into our locker room, which is really fun. They get to see, a little piece of what their mom experienced, and I think that's really, really great. Some things that we try to do as a women's basketball program, and we need to do more, and we need to connect more, absolutely. But as we provide an alumni game, an alumni event, and the 2 seasons I've been here, we flipped it. The first year we did it around a football game. And so we tailgated, and then we, were able to go to a game of Jed's, and then the next year we brought it to our season, and we did it, around our particular game. And so you try to attract people, maybe coming from different locations, having to travel, maybe certain times of the year work better for them than others. And then our players that are able to engage and hear their stories. If there's anything that I try to provide is experiences and perspectives. And the more we can hear about people's stories, the more we can hear about, what they did. They paved the way for the ladies on our program right now. Everybody that's been before us is an integral part of who we are and the opportunities that we're given today. And to be able to dive into that and listen to that and what it took for them to be successful and the things, how we've grown as a university. And on the flip side, for our alumni to be able to see that growth and to be able to see that connection and the progress we're making as a program and as a university is really fun. So to me, that's what it's about. And I really, I'm looking for more of that engagement and more of that opportunity to share the good things that we're doing.
All of you hit on such wonderful points, and I've been taking notes so I can kind of answer some of those questions and ask to partner even more with you. So in regards to data and collecting contact information, we on the alumni side have a database where we track all of our alumni information. So if you get updated email addresses, phone numbers, things like that, please let us know, because we can kind of store that in our database. And that way in the future, when a new coach comes on and has no idea who their team is, we can pull that list of athletes for them. So we have a specific database administrator who can actually tag people under certain sports, what year they graduated, and kind of take all of these notes. So it's a very robust system, and we want to be able to share that communication and that information with you, and can certainly pull reports for you. You mentioned stories and newsletters. So if you have stories of your alums that are doing amazing things, I know Pierre Desser is our featured alum in our most recent alumni magazine, but we have our social media platforms, and we want to share those stories about our athletes. So if you have specific stories about our, our alums who are athletes, we'd love to share that on social media. And then every month we also do send a newsletter to all alums, just kind of from the Office of Alumni Relations, to kind of update our alums on what events are happening and things like that. So if we want to spotlight alums there, we can as well. Or, let's say football does move forward in the fall. What will that look like? What will ticket prices look like? Things like that. We can promote that information for you. And like Scott mentioned, we really want to give more opportunities to alums to visit campus. So we're also talking about breaking out homecoming and reunion and doing kind of a reunion and alumni weekend in the spring every year, which could work out really well. Like I know that there's been an alumni baseball game in the past, and Doug Bletcher and I are going to work together, and we can kind of fuse that into an alumni weekend, and we could even kind of build it up and do multiple different sports games if we wanted to do that. So I think there's definitely some room for a lot of different possibilities, which is very exciting. And we're just kind of here to help, and Scott and I are working kind of hand in hand. Shared team, we're always in contact with one another, so we're definitely here to kind of make some big changes happen. So I want to be respectful of your time, but I just want to kick it off and maybe say something that we should keep in mind for athletics, closing thoughts, anything that you want to kind of end the session out with. And Scott, I'm going to pass it to you.
I think it's for me, to be completely transparent, is that I don't think Lindenwood is denying the fact that we understand we've gone through a lot of changes in the last decade. We made the jump from being an NAIA sponsored school to an NCAA. We've obviously had multiple leadership changes at the president level as well as the athletic director level. And so just with all that change has become a lot of, changing of guards and changing of leadership in a lot of ways. And, our athletic department has 27 NCAA sports and another 16 club sports that we still sponsor that we've taken over from the SLS and side. And I think it's just, to be completely honest, is we're unique. We have a rich history. We have a lot of alums who have come through here. And a lot of the alums that have come through here have been proud, but there certainly has been a lot of change. And so to speak into the coach's point is that they just want to be connected. and they weren't around when those transitions took place, but they certainly are here now, and they're certainly proud to take on the programs and continuing to build those relationships. But they certainly want those alumni to come back and get to know who they are, get to know their student athletes, because they're no different than they were regardless of who they played for, if it was in the NAIA days or the NCAA days. I think now it's about saying, hey, I played for this program, I'm proud to play for this program. And I'm extremely, since I moved into this position, it's been rewarding for me to see other coaches. You know, I went for almost 6-7 years coaching and kind of focused on my program, and I got the opportunity to step into this role and watch other coaches coach and learn from them and see how they interact. And it's really rewarding. And we have a lot of fantastic coaches, a lot of great coaches who will do wonderful things. And so I really encourage alumni to come back. And then my last point is the connection that Rachel and I have done and the entire development office here at Lindenwood is we've really tried to build that bridge and to connect and be on the same page and trying to work with each other. And it will take time. It's a transition. It's certainly not something that can be done overnight. And we've done a lot in the past year, and we're hoping that we can continue to build that bridge and continue to work on our relationship and how that will kind of be unique for us and how we work with the institution, because we do have a lot of student athletes and we do have a lot of our alumni who played athletics here. And so trying to connect and to work together is really important for us. So I appreciate Rachel's help. She's done fantastic in her short term here, but that entire office has been great to work with. So I look forward to the future. Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of stuff to just say amen to with Scott and with a lot of change and but man, it's exciting. I'm really excited about our really just 1 year now of our new president, President Porter, and I've been able, a guy that's popped around to all of us and been able to chat with us one-on-one. So we've heard a lot of his vision. I think the leadership is so solid here at Lindenwood right now. And I think we're kind of watching that right now through this time. I think I always believe that adversity kind of reveals character and leadership. So we're kind of seeing a little bit how our leadership is happening through of a lot of change and a lot of adversity through this time that we're in. And so I would just add really just a thank you for, love taking the time to engage with some of our alumni. So those of you who are listening, appreciate you so much that Carrie, love you have for Lindenwood. And from a football program, this has been exciting. Scott mentioned what attracted me to come here from South Dakota as well. Like Katy said, we left a really good football program in Sioux Falls to come to a place that I believed could be really, really special because of the area, because of the facilities and all these things, and to come and see that support not only for athletics but for academia and just the facility. Like I said, athletic facilities, academic facilities. It's a special place. We're fortunate to like right now, if you're a football alum, maybe you don't even know, that this was the first time we've ever won a conference championship or a playoff in the NCAA era. But what's also cool is how great our academics are. It's the first time we've had hit close to right around the 3.0 GPA since the D2 era, since we've been here. And, it's like, so, you realize academically we're making that a priority, and our kids love the academics here as well. So, so much special. So I'm just kind of bragging on our kids and our students at Lindenwood, and just from top to bottom, they're awesome. And the people, that's makes it special.
Yeah, Rachel, I think first of all, just thanks for letting me and letting us be on this morning, and hopefully maybe communicating with a new group of people, or some people that are interested in athletics and what we have going on. But I think we all probably agree. I mean, I think that we've got such an exciting campus, exciting university, exciting programs. It's like I said, just finishing up year one. It's been everything that I hoped for When I moved from Central Michigan and got back to the area of what I was looking for to be a head coach. We just moved into the GOVC, which from a basketball standpoint was probably the best men's basketball league in the country. So the positives that we have, I think are tremendous. And I think when you compare them to, even other universities around us, I don't know, I feel like we have a lot to brag about a lot of times. And, I think that, the big question is, do we survive here, for the next few weeks, the next few months, and continue to move forward, during this pandemic. Like Jed said earlier, it changes every day. It changes every couple of weeks. But, I think that, you can see the support, and the strength from our university is going to have a plan for that. And I think if anything, we just would ask our alumni and our supporters to hang in there with us. And we're going to give you the best possible seasons that we can give you when our time comes. And we believe that we are going to get to that point. And when we do, and it's time to compete, we're going to be ready. And just hang in there with us, and we're going to give you everything that we got.
Yes, thank you, Rachel, for giving us this opportunity. I think it's always a good chance to be able to get in front of a group of people and be able to share the things that this university is doing. And, I compare my process of being or coming to Lindenwood very similar to the recruiting process that we do as coaches. And I was sold right away by the people. And the people is what matter. We talk all the time about bringing great people into our program. Certainly we've had some good success here recently in playing in 2 national tournaments and academically just doing really well. But it starts with the people, and it starts with the foundation. And I would agree with the coaches and Scott that this is a wonderful place, and I'm so proud to be here. I absolutely love Lindenwood, and I love the direction that it's going. And that's what I'm so thankful for. When I was going through the process of interviewing for this position, the vision is incredible. Where we want to go, the people that make up this athletic department, the people that make up this university is exceptional. And certainly we're competitive from an athletic standpoint, but we have the priorities in place from an academic perspective and a social perspective, and how we can give back and what those experiences mean, and trying to remember the people that came before us, and I just think that that's a really, really important piece. And so I want to thank all the alumni that are involved. We appreciate your attention and your willingness to want to be a part of something that we're doing here at Lindenwood, and we're excited to see where it's going. I think it's only going up at this point, and that's what we love about it. We're in a really unique, special place, surrounded by special location, special people, and together I think we can accomplish a lot.
Thank you all so much for those closing comments. I feel very inspired and kind of recharged, even though this has been a challenging time. I think it's going to be a really great year and great future years for all of us. So thank you again for your time. For those of you watching, this will be posted online and shared on social and all of those things. So please spread the word, let our athletes know that we're here. We want them to be involved, and we're here to support them. So I'm going to stop sharing now. And I just want to thank our presenters again, and I hope that you all have a wonderful day.